Hello everyone. Today's discussion is about two more projects. In past session, we discussed about bank account system and bus reservation system. Now the next one is student information management system. Before going to the code, let's understand the requirements for this. Okay. So in the first place, student information management system. What this project tells about? It tells that we need to maintain the set of details for the students for particular college. So let's say in the particular college, what kind of informations are needed to maintain the data for student database. The first thing is we need to store the first name of the student, last name of the student, and roll number for the every student. And what is his GPA, CGPA? CGPA is nothing but the grade basically. So how much grade he has, what is the amount out of 10, what is the value he is holding, and what courses he has been registered for this academic year in the college. These are the main important things we need to store. We need to store the data. The first one, approach, coming to the approach, how we are doing this project. The idea is to, form a individual functions to perform these mentioned operations. All these functions are unified together to form a new software for stu- student information management system. So in that, let's deep dive how many functions we are writing and what it does basically. The first one is add student detail. Add student detail function, what it does is it gets the information from the user administrator. Example, administrator. The student will go to the administrator and provide his information, whatever the information the students are having. That information the administrator has to store in the software. That information we are giving using add student details function. While adding this right into the list, and it checks the uniqueness of the roll number. Let's say you have created 4 or 5 people. After that, you are giving again same roll number which is already present or assigned to another student. Then it, it should not supposed to store. These are some of the requirements that are being designed, that have to be designed. Next function is find the student by the given roll number. You need to find the student name and his details, corresponding details when we entered a roll number of the student. That function is also needed. Next one is find the student by the given first name. When we provide the first name of the student, first name is his house name or surname or father name. It can be anything. That name, when we give it, the list of the student. Let's say in multiple times, right? With the same surname, we will have multiple students as well in our database that gets stored. There can be relatives or any other thing, any other possibilities can occur. Those amount of details also we have to, showcase if it exists in our database. So this function does that. Find the students registered in a course for a certain amount of course. Let's say you have registered for the course electronics or Java or a C or C++. Any course, just you pass the course name, we will provide, the database will read and provide you the list of the students that is enrolled to the course. And next function is count of students. Number of students are present. That count also we can get. When this function is called, it provides you the return value of total number of students that are present in the system. Next, delete the student. There are possibility that any person can discontinue the course. At that point of time, we need a delete function to delete the student record for the given roll number. Next one is update student. Let's say some or other reason any of the parameter of student information got updated incorrectly. Let's say the name of the student or first name of the student or address or CGPA, whatever the parameter we are taking and storing it, right? That parameter is not correct. Then we need to update the information using this update student function call. What it does is this function does not ask for new details for all the fields, but whatever the user want to, update that particular field argument, it considers with the new value to update. So that information it will ask. So this is the approach for this project. Hope the requirement is clear and the problem statement is also clear. Now let's go to the coding part of it. So here the coding, coming to the coding part of it. So I am having the inclusion list. The inclusion list is here: math.h, stdio.h, stdlibrary.h, standardlibrary.h, and strings.h. So these are the header file functions we need to include in our project. So we'll see one by one why we have used math, why we have used string, etc. Okay. And next one, I have taken one more variable to keep the track of number of students that are present in our college. So initially with 0, starts with 0, assigned with 0. The data type is integer. So I is equal to 0, right? Initially the college open and no registrations has been there. That is the requirement we have considered. Then for every student, we need to store certain properties, right? As discussed, the first name, last name, roll number, CGPA, and course ID. CID is nothing but course ID. For every student, this entire information needs to be, saved. For that purpose, instead of taking it in array, we have taken in the structure. So the struct keyword, and the structure name is sinfo. Sinfo is nothing but student info. And what parameters we are storing inside? Character data type, fname. Fname is first name. It's an array and the data type is character data type. So array of character data type of size 50. Next, last name, array of character data type and size is 50 again. Next, roll number. Roll number is an integer. Next is CGPA. CGPA, it will have decimal value. So we have considered float data type. Next, course ID. Course ID will be an integer. It doesn't have any digital decimal values. So we have considered an integer and again it's an array of size 10. So initially we have hard coded that we are having 55 students in our college. So this is structure to store the information. So ST is a short code for this sinfo. So it has 55 students. We just hard coded it. It can be a variable also. Whenever you want, you can declare it. Create instance. So coming to the functions. As I said, the approach is very simple. We are having several functions. Each function will perform certain amount of operations in it. So let's go one by one function. First one is add student and it's a void type. So you no need to return anything. You just have to, if you don't want to any return anything and perform certain actions, so you can keep the function type as void and the function name is add student. Okay, and doesn't need any arguments also to be taken. So once add student is there, we will ask the user to provide the information. So printf add the student's details. This gets printed. Then this line also gets printed. Then we are asking enter the first name of the student. And we are having limiter /n. So after this, the new line gets printed. not so it won't consider in the same line, then it will print from the next line. So once this is done, right, it will ask user to provide the first name of the student. So the user enters student's first name. Now we have to scan that whatever user is entering with percentages, because it's a character array with 50, right? If you remember, the student first name is character array with 50. So we will scan that whatever user is providing. After that, we have to assign that to this structure variable. Structure variable first student dot fname. Fname is nothing but first name. So for every student, this data has to be, inputted. The same thing again, last name and roll number again. So one by one, all this data has to be, stored for every student. Next is CGPA also, it is obtained. Once it is stored, right, for every student, we need to store this data. So for that purpose, each data will be there. So here we have considered CID, course ID is 10 courses for, which means 10 subjects are there for particular course, academics. So for every course, we need to store the data, right, for every student. For that purpose, we have used a for loop to iterate to store the data. Once that is done, we increment it and print to show whether it is stored or not. So this is a function. Next one is find R. Find R function, RL is function which is used to, find the student information based on the roll number. So if you provide the roll number, then based on that roll number, the student information will be, showcased. Now I'm considering one variable integer x. This x is nothing but the roll number. We need to ask the user, right? What's the roll number we will be taking? So for that particular purpose, we are printing that enter the roll number of the student. So after printing this statement, user will enter the particular roll number for which the student details are needed. So the user will enter it. So we used to read that information using scanf function, and we read it and stored in X. Now X will have the roll number of the candidate student. Now for that student, we need to, retrieve from our database, and we need to read that information to the user. So for that purpose, what we have to do, we need to iterate, right, in entire student list. For that iteration, we need a for loop. Now in this for loop, we will iterate from first student to the last student till what is the student number we can taking. So from that, if the student roll number is matching, then we take that particular index value and we print the student number, we print the first name, second name, last name, and CGPA, and how many courses he have enrolled. All these information will be printed once we find out that student roll number that will have matching with the stored thing. If it is not matched, then again it student not found and the function gets broken. Next function is find the student by the first name. Fn is nothing but first name. If you provide the first name, we have to showcase the list of students who is having the first name as the same that is being entered by the user. For that purpose, here the name is the thing, right? So it's a character array. Again, the size is 50 based on the structure variable. So the same structure size has to be, inputted for verifying. So we'll ask the user to provide what is the first name of the student. Then once he entered that data, we read that information from scanf and stores in the character array A. Again, the same thing. As it is a numerical value, roll number is numerical value. That is why in previous function we just iterated and verified the integer value. Now now here it's not an integer value. First name is a string, right? So string is a character array. So this character For this purpose only, we have used a string header file, where in which it will have inbuilt function which is strcmp. Strcmp is nothing but a string comparison. Whatever the value user has entered, that has to be compared with the first name in our database, right? So for every database, we will iterate from first name to last name, every student, and if we get the match, whatever we entered and whatever the thing present in the database, both are matched with string comparison. If that is matched, then we are projecting the details from the student. So we are printing the student detail and the particular index value, and printing the last name, roll number, CGPA, and the course details. Once this is done, this will be printed and function gets exited. If it is not found, if that particular first name is not there in our database, then first name not found will be shown in the else part. Next part of the requirement is finding the students in the particular course. That is why find underscore C. In the particular course, how many students are enrolled? That information we need to see. For that purpose, course ID is nothing but an integer number, right? So that is the reason I have taken one variable, integer number. Now we are asking, we are printing, enter the course ID. This course ID information will be entered by user. So once the user entered the course ID, we read that from scanf, and percentage %d is the variable value that is being taken from the user input and stored in ID variable. ID variable. And we are taking one more variable which is c is equal to 0. Now what will happen is this for loop, integer j is equal to 1 and j less than or equal to I, comma j plus plus. So j is a variable. We are iterating from index 1 to the index till how many students are there, that index. After that, we are taking another variable, d is equal to 0 and d less than 5. So in our course, as we said, right, we are having 5 courses in the academics. So for every 5 courses, we need to iterate the course because we are entering the course ID. It's an array, right? That is why we are having another for loop. Next one is if loop, because once we get the match of the course ID, that's an integer number, right? That is the reason we are getting the match. ID is equal to the positional reference of the particular position. If we found out the data, then that ID at that position, index number j and d, we can print the student details as first number, last name, roll number, CGPA. Once we get all this data, then we break the loop. If we are not able to find from the entire database, then we'll tell that first name, with that particular first name, no student is present in our database. No student is enrolled to the college, first of all. That is the reason no student is enrolled here. We tell that. Next one is function to print total number of students. So how many number of students are there? Those number of students we need to print the data. So this doesn't require any amount of input from user. So whatever is there from our database, we just print that data. So for that reason only, we are using printf statement. Total number of students is your I. I is the index number. So initially, let's say we are having 50 students, then 50 people gets printed. Let's say if you're having 10 people only. So 40 people max to max, we are having 40 people that are left to enroll. That information also we can, showcase. Next one is del s. Del s function, what it does is this will delete the student information for the particular roll number. So particular roll number, right? So roll number for that particular roll number is an integer value. Now for int a, we have considered one variable int a, where in which int a it will ask the user to enter the roll number for which the student information needs to be deleted. Correct? So we will showcase using printf, enter the roll number which you want to delete. So this gets printed. Then user will enter the roll number. Once he entered the roll number, we can store that value, whatever he entered, and to a variable a. That is the reason we have declared int a. Then after that, we need to delete the record, right? For that record, we have to iterate first of all into our database how many students, whatever students are there. For every students, we need to compare the roll number. So for that purpose, we have taken again the same thing, integer j is equal to 1 and j less than or equal to I and I plus plus. So let's say we are having only 10 students got enrolled. So I is here, roll number of students got enrolled, right? So till that purpose only we have to check. We don't need to check 50 as we have 55. As we have structure of size 55, we no need to check for all. We just check, we can check till I. I is nothing but number of, we are having a track of count of numbers got enrolled in our college, right? That is the reason we kept I here, not 55. So once it is done, we will check the comparison. If the roll number that is matched with the roll number of the student, then we go here and, in for every iteration, we will just take and, delete the particular instance. This is how we are doing it. Once that is done, we will protect that printf, and using printf, we are showcasing that the roll number is removed successfully. We are removing the data once it is removed, printing that function. Next one is very important function, which is update a student's data. So here, if you want to update any information of the student, then we use this function called void up underscore s. This function tells that we need to update an information based on the user input. Let's say for a particular roll number of the student, only first name got changed. First name is mistake. Then we need to enter first name based on the selection. Based on that selection, the data gets updated. So let's see how it goes. Now we are printing printf enter the roll number to update the entry. So user will enter that roll number, right? Once he enters it, we are storing in the variable. So we have taken X the roll number. Now for loop we are iterating for every use case. We iterate the for loop because we have to iterate till number of students. Let's say we have 10 or 20 or 30. This number of students we are storing in I. So for this all the students we have to iterate. For that purpose, this for loop is taken. After that, if the entered student number and the found number in our database is same, then we will showcase again printf showing that what kind of information you want to modify. Okay, so we will print this information to the user. Let's say user chooses some variable, right? So that variable we have taken z and we are storing it. Now we are implementing a switch case logic because at a time we need to change only one data. We don't want to change entire thing. For that purpose of control, we have implemented the logic using switch case. So switch case syntax is switch off and your choice number. So the choice number, let's say user has entered choice number 1. So the choice number 1 goes to case 1 scenario. Case 1 scenario, what is happening? Printf enter the new first name. So already existing name is already there, right? That is wrong. So user wants to change the existing first name. That is the reason the first name it is asking. Now user enters the new name, right? We are storing that in our respective index number j. So the j gets updated every time, right? So that once the j is found, then that j only we have to update. That particular index student name only we have to update, right? That is the reason of the which parameter again, the first name. So fname dot parameter will access the properties of the student. Here the property of student is fname, right? So we have to update fname. So that is why we have given dot fname. Once we get it, we just assigned it. This scanf will assign the data, new data to this fname. And once the job is done, it breaks it. Once it goes and it will tell us update is happened successfully, right? If user enters again, now he enters a case 2 scenario. Case 2 is for last name. So again, the same thing, we'll print the data and scanf. We'll ask the data to enter, user to enter the updated last name. So once we taken that and we update the last name in our database. Let's say you want to enter the change the roll number itself. So third case is for the roll number. The same way, the student structure respective index dot parameter access the parameter values for the particular student, and we want to change the role, right? Roll number. That is why we have given dot roll. So once we assign the data to dot roll, it will break. The next one is for CGPA. The same thing, we will ask to enter the new CGPA. The user enters the data. We are copying the data to dot CGPA for the particular index J. Next, he wants to change the data for new course. So enter the new course details. Let's say he has to enter from 0 to 5. So 5 courses are there. So 5 values he has to enter. So one by one he will be entering. We will be taking that data and getting stored into the information using scanf. That is why data 0, data 1, data 2, data 3, and data 4. So for that purpose, we are taking the particular student J dot CID is a course ID. So it has it's an array, right? It will have 5 sub elements. So for every element, we are taking 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? On these 5 data are being entered by the user, we are storing that information. So after storing that information, we are breaking the switch case. So our job is done. So switch case we are taking and breaking it. Then at the end, we are printing whether the update is happened or not. So that's why we are printing using this indication like printf update successfully. Right? Till now we have seen all the functions that are present for this function. So we have seen add student, we seen find roll number, we seen find using first name, we seen find with course, we seen total number of students, we seen delete. If you want to delete any student based on the roll number, we have seen that. Next we have seen ups, which means update student. We have seen everything. Now we have to go to main function. Now for going to the main function, this is very important. This is where our entire programs get started. In this main function, we need to, take the inputs from the user. Now, original student information management system starts here. So original code starts from here. Now we have to display the information that needs to be there in our database based on the choice of the user. So first of all, we have to provide the options whatever we are having, right? For the purpose, we are using while loop of iteration 1. Iteration 1 is always true, it won't break. So you have to force heartedly break the loop at the end of the execution. So we have consider while of I is equal to 1. It's always identity 1, it will be choice. Then we have to show the options that we are asking the user. For the purpose only we are used printf. So the first printf is task that you want to perform. We have to show. These are the list of the task, right? For the purpose we are showing this. First one is add student details. Next one is find the student details by roll number. Next one is find the student details by first name. Find the student details with course ID. Find the total number of students in the college. Delete the student details. Update the student details by roll number. Or if you don't want to do anything, then just exit. Now we are asking an option, which option to select. That is called choice. So we are asking the user to enter some choice. Once that is entered, we are storing that information in choice option variable. Now we are iterating this we are having several functions, right? And every function is not needed to, perform an action every time. So that is the reason we have to perform only the asked action by the user. So that's why we are controlling that particular action using switch case. So here our switch case will iterate based on the choice. Here the choice is entered by the user as he entered the by the user, right? So choice will be taken. Let's say choice is 1. Now in case one, it goes and it calls the function add student. We already discussed what is add student. We create the add student by asking whatever the input that is needed. This is how we iterate across all the functions based on the choice chosen by the user. Once this is done, then this gets executed, then it will break from the function and exit 0 will be returned. Exit 0 gets returned. The reason is it's an void function, right? So this how the student information gets updated or this project gets executed. Hope it is clear. Now, first of all, if you see the project structure, right? Initially, we are having inclusion list, then what are the variables, then structure variables. After that, user defined functions. We have declared all the functions that are needed for the project. Then at last, we are calling the main function, which is the driver code. Based on the, we are displaying the options. User will choose the option. Based on the option, we will be choosing, based on the option chosen by the user, we are calling the respective function to perform the action. So hope this is clear. Moving to the next project. Next project is telecom billing system. Let's see the requirement. Yep. Second project is telecom billing system. So let's discuss about this project. First of all, let's see the requirements, what we need to do for this project. Based on that, I will explain you what is the project structure. So the first one is operations offered by the telecom system. The following are the operations and functionalities offered by the telecom billing system. So these are the things that are being highlighted here, right? These are the various things that we need for our project requirement. First one, add new record. Whenever a new customer is seen, we need to add potential customer to our record. Record is database. Next one, view. So we have to do this addition of new user to our database. Next one is view list of records. View all the records at one glance. That means whatever there in our database, all users list we have to display, read from the database and display at one entry. Next one is modifying the record. If you want to change any of the existing record, then you can use to change also. Next, view payment. If you want to pay the bill for the customer, then this function is called. This is nothing but view payment option. Next one has the same delete record. So deletion of the record from our database. If the customer drops our services and we don't want to continue our services furthermore, then we need to delete the customer from our database because he is no longer using our database and no longer using our services. This is the requirement, plain clean requirement we are having from the telecom billing system project. Now how we are doing it is very important. Let's go through the prerequisites. Prerequisites is C programming language is needed and we need to know the array strings and structure. So you should have knowledge of arrays, you should have knowledge of strings, you should have knowledge of structure before implementing this project. Now we'll see how we can, build the project in a component ways. We'll break down the project into the several components and what type of functions and what type of things we'll take. The first one is components of telecom billing system program. Telecom billing system is divided into multiple components because it has to perform various operations. The necessary libraries we will consider here is stdio.h for input output operations to be performed. And string.h for string manipulations. These two we have to consider. Next one is data structure. So here new things called data structure to hold the customer information. A structured customer is identified or defined as holding information about the customer. We will create a structure. In that structure, the customer information will be stored. Next, we'll consider 1,000 customers are present in our data records. It can hold 100 customers in it. Next one, customer count is an integer variable to use to track the number of customers present or currently using our services. This is related to customer information. Now hope we are clear with our project and what to be done and what actions to be performed. That is also clear. With this understanding, let's deep dive in our project. So this telecom project, again the same thing, inclusion list we have to consider. The first inclusion list is stdio.h and string.h. Inclusions we have to consider. Next, as we need to store the customer information, for that customer information we have taken a structure which is data structure, which the structure keyword struct and the name of the structure is customer. Using this customer, we need to store whatever the information he needs to be stored in our database, needed for our database. First one is a name. It's a character array of size 50. So name of the customer, like the phone number, character array of size 15, 15. And the usage. What is the usage plan he is using? What is the usage plan he is using? So float usage. Next one is float total bill. What is the total amount he is paying to us to use our service? So float total bill. Total bill can be in decimal. That is why we have taken float. Usage also can be in decimal. So that is the reason we are using float data type here. Now struct of customer. Another struct of customer which is used to see the number of customers are being stored who is currently using our services. Who is currently using our services. Next one is so to with handle the count of the users currently using our services. That is the reason we have taken one variable which is customer count is equal to 0. Based on that, whenever the new customer is added to our data structure, this variable gets incremented. This variable gets incremented. Now let's go with deep dive of one by one that are needed for our project. The customer add record. These are user defined functions. Okay. First one is add record. So what all the type of functions we will be using here? First one is add record, next view records, next modify records, payment, delete records, display menu. And the final is main function that means used. First one is add record. How we are adding the details of the customer. These details of the customer. For every customer, we have to consider the total size of the customer is 100. For every customers, whoever are there, we will take and store, ask the inputs from the user and store their details in our data structure. So with that keeping in mind, let's start and deep dive into the functions. First one is a customer count. In that we have considered, we have chosen that we are having 100 number of customers. So the first one is the first name, enter the name of the customer. After that, we are storing the name. How we are storing the name? Using customer structure, and in that again the number of customers with dot variable to access the variable in the structure, which is name. So this is how we store the customer information. Next one is enter the phone number. Once the user enters the phone number, that number again we take and we store here. Here phone number, if you observe, right, we are considering the phone number and storing in the same format, the customer structure, the first customer, and storing based on the count of the customers, we are storing all the data. Next one, usage in minutes. So how many minutes he is using the services, that information also needs to be stored. So that's why we are taking the value and getting stored in the usage variable, the customer of count, which customer is using what amount of usage. That amount also we are storing it. Next one, what is his total bill? So total bill, how we can calculate? Again, the total bill is the usage amount, how much usage amount he is using, how minutes he is using. Based on that, how much tariff, the tariff that is decided by the customer based on his usage. Once his usage is very high, so he will get the huge bill. If usage is less, then his bill is also less. So we take previously we have taken the minutes, how many minutes he has used. So based on that minute count, we will be multiplying 0.1 paise. That is the reason this can be changed again. If your tariff amount, it varies with the vendor to vendor. Let's say your vendor is charging 2 minutes per paise, then 2 minutes per second, then you can consider 2 minutes. If it's an international call or whatever, like this is up to you. This is a variable value. You can change whatever value you need it. Okay. Once that is done, for the next customer, we will be asking. Again, it is entered by the user. This is how one by one for all the customers, we need to store this information using add record function. Once this is all done, then for all 100 persons, we will be printing maximum number of records reached. So all details are stored in our database. Okay. So move to the next one. Next function, view records. Once it is stored, right, you want to see the information of a customer. So to see that, you will see whatever the customers we are having and their corresponding informations about the usage. So the name, the phone number, the usage in minutes, and the total bill. So we will print all the amount of customers that are being enrolled with us, and we will showcase all the records available in our database. So how we are doing it? We are iterating a for loop. Using a for loop, we iterate this from first customer to the last customer. We iterate this from first customer to the last customer. We take and incrementing by one. So we'll print this information as in structure members. For every structure, the corresponding parameter name, phone number, usage, total bill, all these for the particular customer needs to be taken and printed one by one using printf statement. This is how we can view the records of the customers. Next function is to modify the record. How you will change the information already stored in our data structure if any particular information needs to be changed. So then using this modify record, we will change the customer data. So what is the function? The function is void modify record and argument. It takes an argument here. So there are n number of customers, right? 100 number of customers are there. Based on what we need to change based on a phone number. Every phone, it's a telecom project, right? Every customer will have associated phone number. That is a unique number. like roll number for the student, phone number is for telecom users, and it's a unique number. Based on this number only, the data will be changed or find it out. So we'll take this from argument. We'll take it as argument. Once we consider this argument, we got this argument from the user, we iterate to all the customers till we find out the right customer who is having this phone number. If we are not able to find out, then record is not found. That means that particular customer with that phone number is not our customer. He is using our service because his name is not there in our records itself. Then he's a new customer or we entered a wrong number, right? These are the two possibilities that can be there. There is a negative case. The positive case of it is we have to check with each phone number with our user entered phone number and check for the match. If there is a match, means then the user, whatever he entered, right, that number only is getting matched. If it is matched, then only we will showcase the details, usage details. First of all, how we are doing that in the first place? We are using string comparison because we stored the phone number in a string format. Instead of number format, we have stored in the string format because it's very easy to find out a string comparison than takes time than number. Once the string match is happened, then it won't go with the next match. So what is the syntax to do that? strcmp is a string comparison function which is presenting string.h header file of it takes an argument, two arguments, right? What is the phone number being entered by the user and what is the phone number being taken from the data structure. Both values, the data structure phone number is this customer I of phone number comma the entered phone number is a phone number variable. If both are matched, then only it will enter. Once it enters, it will check. We need to print the particular customer usage and tariff details, right? How many minutes he has used the network. Using that, we have to print the customer name. So print number customer name. After that, what is his usage number and what is the total number and what is his usage data. So based on that, we will ask the whatever the parameter that is needed to modify. Let's say usage details has to be modified. Then we ask the customer to change the user to enter the details. Those details we will be modified and we will store it. As tariff got changed or as usage got changed, though bill will be changed, right? Again we have to calculate new amount based on the new usage. So new bill amount will be calculated again and stored in bill variable in the structure. Once this is done, we will print that record modified successfully. So all the records, whatever there, it gets modified. Next one is view payment. Whether the particular customer has paid the bill or not. To do that, we have to call this function view payment. This function will check, reads the customer entity whether he has paid the bill or not. So again the same thing, we will read the total customers using the for loop and compare the phone number of the customer. If the phone number of the customer is matched, then only we will print the customer name, phone number, usage and the total bill. If this is already there, then we will see the record. If it is not there with a unmatched phone number, then we'll show that records are not found. Next one is delete record. If you need a function to delete the customer record, that customer is no longer using our tariff, then we need to clear out his billing thing. So for that, we need to delete his record. So we have written a function which does this operation. One is void delete record. It takes the argument phone number. And this phone number we are storing not in an integer format, we are storing in a character format. For this will be used to compare. You can store, it is not only required to store in character format. You can store in string format, you can store in integer format, double integer, whatever way you like it. I like to store in string format. For that purpose only, I have considered string character data type. Once it is getting stored, right, we used a inbuilt function string comparison again to check the correctness of the function, whatever is used. So the phone number and the corresponding phone number present in our database both gets matched. Then only it will go inside. Then now the customer has to be removed, right? So for that purpose, again, all the details required for the function be deleted from the end user. So once it is done, then we have to update the variable also. Previously, we are having 50, 100 customers. Now one customer is deleted. Now 99 customers are only there. So those 99 customer details has to be updated, right? How will we update it? We are storing that information in one variable. So that is nothing but customer count variable. So that customer count variable also has to be decreased. That is the reason we are doing customer count minus minus the post decrement. Once deletion is happened, then only we are decreasing the value. Once that is done, then we are displaying that record deleted successfully. Next one is display menu. Display menu is we are having several different types of operations that in being performed on this billing system. So user has to choose the right selection of the data. For that purpose only, we are keeping a set of options to display to the user. How we are doing is we are using printf to show the options that are needed. Once these options are there, based on this, one of the option will be chosen by the customer. So how these functions, now we have completed all the user defined functions. Now we will see how these user defined functions being used in our main function. So int main function. Again, we will ask user, we will display the menu first. Before that, we are taking two variables. One is a choice, next is a phone number. Int choice and character phone number, we are storing that in a string format, character format, so that it will be easy to compare the data. Okay. Next is while one. While one loop is always true. So this loop is always, iterating until unless you do the force break, then only it will come out of the loop. Otherwise, it will be iterated always. Now, in the first place, first of all, we have to showcase what options we are having. So for that, we will use display menu. So this display menu will have all the details that needs to be performed by the user. When a display menu will print the add new record, view list of instances of the record, modify record, view payment, delete record, or exit. So associated option will have the numerical value associated to it. So this associated number user has to choose. So once we display this option, then we will ask a user to choose your choice. Whatever action you want to perform, please choose the choice. We'll store that in the choice variable. Right? Once this variable value is getting stored, then we iterate using switch case of the choice value. So once that choice is the 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever number it is, we for particular number, the respective functions are getting called. Let's say he used choose one. He want to add the record. Add record function gets called. So from the add record, it will go to here and do necessary actions. New record gets created for the particular variable. Once that is done, then it executes a new instruction, which is break. So your function is closed. It will update the new record in our database data structure, and the function is closed. If the user entered case 2, then 2, then we need to showcase all the information associated to the users using view record function. So view record function gets called. Once view record function is called, so it jumps from here to here. It will show you all the customers corresponding details of the customers like name, phone number, usage, and total bill. Once that is done, it breaks it. Let's say user entered third, case 3. Now in case 3 option is what? Case 3 is nothing but modify record. We need input from the user. For that purpose, we are asking user to enter the mobile number to modify the user required thing. So for that purpose, user will input the number. So once he inputs the number, we are storing that in a variable called phone number. Phone number is a string variable. Once we get that phone number string variable, we call a modify record function. What in this modify record function does? In this modify record function, it takes a character phone number and iterate for the every customer account in our database. Once that is done, it stores the data and checks the data, stores the data only when perfect match is found. Using string comparison, the perfect match of phone number is found. Then with the previous value, it stores the new value and it calculates the bill again and it stores the bill in the database as well. Okay. Once it is done, it will break. Next is case 4. Case 4 is nothing but view payment, whether the person has paid the bill or not. For the particular thing, we will ask the person to enter the phone number. To view the bill, you have to enter the phone number, take the phone number, store in a variable, then pass that, call the function view payment and pass the phone number associated string as an argument. Once this is done, we will call here view payment. So view payment is again it will iterate to enter customer list. Once it found the perfect match, then it does check the data view payment and display this data to the end user. Once it is displayed, then it will break the function. Next one is if you want to delete any record from the database, then yes, true, that is also possible. So we will ask the mobile number entered by the user. Once the user enters the mobile number, we'll store that value in phone number variable. In that phone number variable, the data gets stored and we will call a function called delete record function. In this delete record function, what we are doing, we are iterating to the array entire data structure in our database. Once we get the perfect match, we are using string comparison to get the perfect match based on the phone number. Once we get the perfect match, that means the customer details are found. Now we have to delete the customer detail. For that purpose, we are just removing from our list, and once from the list the data is being removed, then we will decrement the count of the variable as well using customer count minus minus. When that is done, yes, our job is done. Delete record is also done. Then we'll use break condition to break the statement. Apart from this 5, if the customer enters sixth option is he doesn't want to do anything. He just want to exit the application. So he will enter sixth option. So sixth option, he doesn't want to do anything, right? That's why we are giving return 0. Apart from this, any other number he enters, let's say he enters 10, he enters 20 or 30 by mistake. We don't want to perform anything, right? And it's a wrong value, right? Wrong operation as well. That is the reason we are categorizing everything as default. In this default, he has entered wrong values. So that is the reason we are choosing here invalid, showing him invalid choice and please try again. So he will choose it again and wisely, and we are exiting it. Once it is done, then we are exiting with return code 0. Return code 0 is success because the data type of the main function is integer. So that is the reason we have to showcase the return code 0. This is the project of telecom. This is clear. This project is also clear. And very important thing is these are two itered bank account system, bus reservation, student information, and telecom projects. These are very, 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 very important projects. You'll leave with next class some other projects also where we used to, ask other few methods of using the C programming. Okay. Yeah. We'll go with some more example codes, problem codes. One is character classification problem. This is also important question being asked in many interviews. What is a character classification problem? How you characterize classify the character that's been entered by the user. You write a program to show whether it's a character classification is nothing but whether it's uppercase, lowercase, or it's a digit or is a special character. These are only the different types of possibilities of the characters entered by the user, right? That is the reason we have to, write a program to showcase this. It's very simple program, but very important program. First one is we have to use here two header files. One is std.io.h, stdio.h, standard input out header file. Next one is ctype.h. This is C inbuilt function type.h, type defs, which is used to find out definition, function definition type of the function or type of the variable or type of the value. These all will be designed i- with inbuilt functions present in this header file. Let's go into the main function and we take a variable which is character variable with a keyword char and the variable name is ch. Now we are asking user to enter the character. So once the user enters the character, we read that character and store into the variable ch. When that is done, we iterate using these loops. First one is upper. Is upper is a inbuilt function which will tell whether it is an uppercase character or lowercase uppercase character or not. Letter or not. Next one is lower. Is lower is lowercase character. If it is a lowercase character, yes, it goes into the else if condition and it will print it's a lowercase character. Next, if you enter a digit, then it will show it is an digit. If you enter apart from this any number or any different special character, it goes into else part and it will be there here. So let's check this. Right? So first we have to make okay. We created object file. Then we have to run the object file to run the character. Now I have entered capital E. It will show upper case letter. Let's see for small lowercase. So I'll enter small a, which is it should show lowercase letter, right? If I enter number, it should show digit. Very good. Now if I entered some special character like dollar, then it should show it's a special character. Where this program fails, let's see. If I entered like this A V K, then let's see what it shows. It shows is as upper character letter. It's wrong, right? It is a mix of upper and lower character. That is where the corner scenario is not handled properly. Is upper function, what it does is it just check the first character letter. Character is nothing but one string, right? It's not a group of strings. So it is expected to enter a character, not a string. This is a wrong input. And we are not supposed to give this input. Good to go. How we can avoid this? We should be knowing what is meant by character to avoid this, right? Let's check one more thing. If we give this, then what will happen? It's a special character, right? Apart from any alphabets or any digits, this will be considered a special character. Moving to the next one is count, character count. How many characters you are entering? That count we have to keep an eye. The first one is inclusion function. In this inclusion, stdio.h and ctype.h. In that, I am having a main function. In the main function, character string, and it's an array, and keyword is character, and character array with a size of 100. We are considering here vowels 0, constant 0, and special characters are 0. This is a initial declared values. So we'll ask user to provide the string using printf. Enter a string. Once we get the string, then we reads the string using gets function. We can use this function or we can use scanf also. Okay. Once we get the string, this gets function, what it does is it's a character array, right? Every index will be stored in the respective value which is assigned by the user. Once that is done, then we have to iterate with each character one by one. For that, we need a for loop. A for loop with integer I is equal to 0 and something interesting here. Str of I which is not equal to slash 0. Why we are considering not slash 0? Because in C, every string at the end, it will end with slash 0. This is very, very important question in interview. Slash 0 is an special way of ending a string in C. So this is by default will be present. But user is not giving this slash 0, right? But still why it is coming? Yes, by default, it will have slash 0 associated to it once it is stored in a string format. So we are considering all that. Now we are taking every string and converting into the lower character. How to do that? ToLower is a function which is present in C-type utility header file. What this does is if it has mix like this A, V, K, capital A, small v and K, it has mixed like A, V, K, and everything gets converted and printed over here, and that is stored in CH. Once that is done, we are converting in using one more function called isAlpha. IsAlpha function, what it does is it checks what type of character it is. Even it is a character or not. If it is a character, then it iterates every value and checks, stores this character individually, and it compares. If it is A, E, I, O, U, then this comes under vowels. So whatever the string he has entered, it has number of vowels present in it. It's get incremented for every iter character. In every character iteration, this value gets compared. If it is present, then vowels count gets incremented. If these vowels are not present, then consonants gets incremented. If the vowels and consonants are not present, then special character gets incremented. When these values are getting stored and entire for loop is completed, then we are printing this data. Let's see how it works. We are creating object file. Once that is done, we are running the object file. So it is asking us to enter the string. Let's take FDR. FDR. So is it has any vowels? No, right? Doesn't have A, E, I, O, any of the vowel. So it has all the three consonants. So consonants are 3. Let's enter one different value. A, E, I, O, U. So if you see A, I, O, U is all vowels. So it will count it as vowels, which is 5 vowels. Right, it is counting. Now let's say E7 star P. Now if you see, right, it has how many vowels? E is a vowel, right? So 1, 7 is a number, and star is a special number, special character, and B is a consonant. So it shows vowel is 1, consonant is 1, and special character is 2. This is how it will work, and it showcases the data. So sir, how I want to define a number of digits also in it. So here we can do one more thing called else if. Indeed, else if, what is the condition? The condition is digit. We'll take each digit and just pass the ch. If it is a digit, then you just increment a number plus plus. But we didn't declare that number, right? So we have to declare initially a number here. So we can able to, find it out. Character on this one. Yeah. So we have closed it properly or not, we have to check. We are taking in a wrong way. Position is wrong. So we have to enter outside of the loop. Right. So number gets printed. Next here, we have to keep numbers percentage D mission, and you have to give variables as numbers number. Okay, just store it and make again. And that is done. Just run the object file and it will ask you to enter the string. Now we will enter the numbers also. Is E2 star A number again and number. Now if you see, right, I am having vowels 1, which is E, consonant 1, K, next special characters are 2, next numbers are 2. These two special character is star and this open bracket, numbers are 2 and 0. This is how it will differentiate. How this program is clear. That's all for today. Thanks. Bye bye.